smiling away. So on 3, 2, 1, and go. Welcome everyone to another episode of the ACCA Global Podcast. And today we are in for a serious treat. We have one of the top rising stars on LinkedIn. She owns her own company of training as well, which we're going to talk about today. But I have the pleasure to welcome onto the podcast for the first time, Mei Phing Lim. Welcome today, Mei. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thanks. It's an amazing invite. Appreciate it.
Well, I mean, we're just going up different levels now. This is it. I mean, oh gosh. Well, I must say, welcome, because I've seen your content online, majorly impressed, and to have an ACCA member like yourself who is so proactive, you put everyone else to shame, I must be honest. But now, because it's the ACCA Global Podcast, where are you representing today so the viewers know?
Yeah, so I'll be representing Malaysia, born and bred in Malaysia and currently in Penang, Malaysia. So yeah.
Fantastic. At the University of Lincoln, we actually have a partnership with Penang as well. So yes, who knows? It could be out there
Maybe
one day.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. Well, if we were to share a stage together one day, I'd behave myself. Don't you worry about that. But yes, it would be David and Goliath, wouldn't it? But coming on to it, the reason for the podcast is so that when people meet us online, such as LinkedIn or through our websites, this is the reason for the podcast, that they will read things online, but now they get to know us in more depth as well, which is, and on a personal level, I should say. But the other main thing is, what drink have you selected for the podcast today?
So I've selected one of my favorite drinks, which is iced matcha green tea latte. So
Look at that.
This is one of my favorites. So thanks for also grabbing your green tea.
Yes, I know. I know mine doesn't look as exotic as yours, but look, I've got you a nice little mug on there. It's got some nice birds on there. And cheers, having some lovely green tea this morning.
Cheers.
Yes. Oh, fantastic. I've not had any green tea in ages, but you get people coming to your online courses now asking, have you got your green tea ready?
Yeah. I'm sure the ones that have been, they always see like a cold drink in my hand like somewhere around the table and like the screen and stuff. So yeah.
Well, that's the whole point of the podcast, getting to know each other a bit more, and also the viewers get to know you more as well, because they'll see both of our profiles online, and I'll every time I have green tea now, even though it's not very often, I'll be thinking of, May will be telling me more green tea, more focus, and James, update your LinkedIn. That'll be it.
Mm-hmm.
But the other amazing thing is you are also an ACCA qualified member. Well done. But how long have you been qualified for?
I graduated in 08-09, so that was a long time ago. And yeah, I think became a member in, I think it was 2013, and a fellow in 2018, I think.
Oh,
yeah, so it's been a while.
Crikey, gosh. Do you miss the exams?
No.
and all of our students who are watching now have all closed the program and gone. We will come on to ACCA in a bit as well in terms of it, but just short and sweet, introduce to the viewers why I am so excited to have you on today's podcast.
Hey everyone, I'm Mei Phing. Right now, I am a career coach, basically working with professionals to grow their careers online and offline. So online via establishing a LinkedIn professional presence, and offline actually working on your real job skills, right? So your corporate confidence and competence, which I think is a really important thing. So a little bit about my background. I was in the corporate world for about 12 years, started as an auditor, moved into internal audit, risk management compliance, and later ended up as a senior director at Standard Chartered Bank, running a global portfolio. So quite a bit of career transitions that I've done. But all in all, I think it just proves to me and also to a lot of people that, especially for ACCA members, you know what, like an accountancy degree doesn't mean that you just have to be a bookkeeper. Yeah. And people tend to get very confused. They're like, oh, you're an accountant? I'm like, yes, ACCA accountant. So I think, kind of managing careers, like really strategizing and kind of making sure that you pick up like the more important skills. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm working on with my coaching and training nowadays. So like a transition from my education background and working experience, and now helping others to be able to do the same.
Absolutely mega, I must say. And this is where people in the comments can also say, James, maybe you should sign up for some career coaching or life coaching. So yes, if you have any questions as the podcast is going on as well, feel free to put it in the description below. May and I are more than happy to answer them as well. Plus, I'll put all of May's details down there so you can connect with her. And I would highly recommend checking out a few of the articles as well, because if you read one of them, you are going to benefit so much. But I must say, auditor to coach to a variety of experiences. But the reason for the podcast is so that when people who are watching now, viewers, they want to know a bit more about us. So we're going to come on to the quick fire round now, May, where the rule is you've got two options. And as the viewers already know from previous episodes, you have no idea on the questions. So this is where we get to be a bit jokey on it as well. So,
Okay.
and I've carefully select them based on a bit of what you do as well. So the first one, which I'm very interested to know, is: do you prefer Mac, Apples, or PC? Which one?
I'm using a Mac right now. So yeah, I guess Mac. I don't think I'm fully utilizing the potential though, but yeah, I'm so used to Mac nowadays. So
Right.
yeah.
Oh gosh. Well, if we've got any tech whizzes out there as well, but I see I'm on my PC. I'm always a PC person. But you see that we have zero sponsorship on the channel as well, and as you know, we're having a top 70 LinkedIn rising star on the show. I really had to put myself out with my notes this week. I mean, look at that. That is a TED Talk in the making, that one is. But, see, I've settled the first one now. That is really important. But coming on to the second one then, do you prefer cook at home or eat out?
I am a very lousy cook, so cook at home is not happening.
You're a lousy cook.
Yeah, so I eat out a lot, but I am, trying to do more stuff at home. Like, eating more mueslis and like getting bread, like almond butter and that kind of stuff.
Nice.
So I find time nowadays, but I'm not a good cook at all. I can barely cook, so sorry guys.
Oh well, if anyone comes to May's courses now, pop in any recommendation. I'm sure you'd love to have them as well. It's,
I love them. I love them.
Oh, that's mega. That is. Gosh. Now I learned to cook carbonara the other day. Proper carbonara.
Oh,
so,
awesome.
yes,
I like it.
Well, if I'm in Penang, then carbonara is on the menu. That's the main thing. But
Awesome.
you
I
see,
like that.
you can't go wrong. Well, obviously, I wouldn't carry it in my hand luggage from the UK. I'd make it fresh when I got there. But the next key one, which I'm quite interested to know again, is we got three options on this one. We have: do you prefer normal books, so hard copy, e-books where it's on a sort of tablet, or third one, audiobooks? Which one do you prefer to use in your day? Because I know you're super busy.
Personally, I prefer hardcover, but I can't finish a book. I feel like when I read to a certain chapters that make a lot of sense to me, I want to just kind of like resonate on those and apply already. So I have hardcover books, but some of them I haven't started, some of them I haven't finished, fortunately. Ebooks, I don't quite like ebooks. I know it's very convenient. The thing is that I find it very difficult to focus. Because like when I read my articles like on my computer and so forth, I like them to be very quick, like really quick bullet points, and that's really the way that I create a lot of my content as well. So ebooks unfortunately can't really grab my attention for a very long time. So yeah, for now, hard copies. Audiobooks, probably not the whole book, but I do listen to like podcasts and even on YouTube, but like the more audio ones. So I try to get a mixture of those.
I'm sure you'll be playing this back as well, and you'll be going, oh God, you see, absolutely crushed that interview with James today. I had him, in his wake there. But I've got into audiobooks a bit more now, where if you go for a little walk in the morning, clear your mind, bit of fresh air, listen to something that you're particularly interested in, podcasts, anything on those lines, makes such a difference. But I agree with you, hard copy it's a case of it's more of a treat now where I just switch off from the
Mm,
world. I'll go and sit down in a coffee shop or go for a drink somewhere, just get a book out and just nice half an hour.
yeah, right.
Perfect. And
I,
social media off. That's the other
mm.
thing. Social
Yeah, I
media
think
off.
it's quite funny because I do have a podcast and I get a lot of like messages from people. They say, hey, I've been listening to your podcast on the way to work and while I was jogging and
Oh
so
wow.
forth. But I don't really listen to that many podcasts myself. So I just find it's a really a good, yeah, I mean, I
Well,
appreciate everybody who finds it insightful. So like, thank you everyone.
well, I'm afraid this is hardly a competing podcast. I would say this is more of a we get to chat with ACCA members
Mm,
and we get to know each other a lot better. So
yeah.
in terms of competition, you're more Premier League in terms of football standards, and this is more sort of League Two. It's okay, but who knows? Maybe we'll win a digital award, and I can put it up here in the background of just a
Yeah, fingers
certificate.
crossed.
Oh yes, oh yeah. But yeah, so we've been joking on previous episodes about sponsorship as well. Where if anyone wants to
Mm.
sponsor me for a white T-shirt, then well, that's as good as we're going to get. But staying with technology,
Mm,
though, would you consider coming on to the next one? Are you a
yeah.
high-tech person or a low-tech person?
Low tech person.
You
I'm
see,
a
I thought you'd
really
be
low tech
high-tech.
person. I can barely get my electronics to function, to be honest. Yeah, so it's quite funny because I do run sessions on like becoming future ready in the digital world, and a lot of people expect the sessions to talk about like technology and how we can use AI. But a
Mm,
lot of the stuff I talk about is like how we as humans learn to operate with these machines that are
mm,
just like evolving every single day, right? So
yeah.
I end up talking about human skills, which people are really pretty surprised. But I guess at the end of it, it's about bridging the two.
Oh,
So yeah, low tech person, unfortunately. Anybody
yeah.
wants to help with my tech problems, please drop me a message.
we're gonna find you some new new experiences today, aren't we? But no,
Yeah.
I'm a low tech person as well. That's the
Mm,
thing. But I'm more interested from my online classes how
mm,
to and just like with your courses, how you engage someone through the screen as well, and all the different
mm.
mechanisms, so that when they come away from it, they go, "Oh, I've really felt involved and part of that." Whereas
Yeah.
anyone can just sort of sit there in front of a screen and turn off and whatever. So
Yeah, I agree.
Tony Robbins is a really good person for that because he just
Mm.
changes his voice and he changes the atmosphere, the ambience, and all these different
Mm.
things. So if anyone's not listened to Tony Robbins who's listening to this, 100%, obviously don't close this conversation now, but after when it's finished, then go and then you'll say, oh, James, Tony Robbins, pretty much the same person. So, it's what can we say? What can we say? Tony, if you're listening, you're more than welcome on the show anytime. It doesn't matter if I have to get up at 2 a.m. to speak to you. I'm there. It's okay. But speaking from the final question then, May,
Mm.
do you prefer to message someone, as in texting, or do you prefer to call someone, actually speak to them on the phone?
I think it depends on the topic. But I think I prefer texting first because you just don't know if the other person has time for you or if they're busy
Yeah,
or whatever. And they might want to have a think about it before speaking. So
yeah.
normally I would text first.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm in the same sort of boat. Plus, it gives me time to think as well because you
Mm.
alluded to there about time.
Yeah.
Some people seem to have a lot of time. I know you don't have a lot of time because you are super duper busy, and we can talk about what you've been up to today as well. But time is everyone's biggest asset,
Mm.
and in terms of how people spend it and having the day that they want. So oh, just I can't cope with wasting time anymore. It's criminal, that is. But where do you
Mm.
think most people waste their time? Would you say?
I think mindless activities, just things that have become a habit, and we call them
Yeah.
habit for a certain reason. Is because it's so unconscious, subconscious that we don't even know that we're doing it.
Hmm.
So yeah, audit your time, right? Since we're all accountants and auditors here, like audit your time. Like what do you do every day and every week, maybe every month, and maybe you'll learn something about yourself.
Oh, but one of the bits from Jim Rohn, which I read about, was
Mm.
just write down what you actually did in that day, or as you're going through the day, just write it down. And David Goggins mentioned this as well.
Mm.
And look back at it on the end of the day, and you will realize how much time you've wasted scrolling through your phone, or just
Mm.
sort of watching mindless television or something on those lines. I know some people that have actually got rid of their televisions from their houses now.
Yeah, I don't have a TV actually for years.
Interesting. Gosh,
Yeah.
you see. Yes, yeah. Well, it's a case of these are little changes that some people are making, but you
Mm,
don't really hear about them, though. That's the thing. So 'cause it's just a habit that people sit down
mm,
in front of the television at the end of the day and they'll spend 2 3 hours watching a program. Whereas if you
mm,
listen to someone like Gary Vee, then they'll say, well, those 2 to 3 hours, you could be making your, starting your own business, exactly sort of what
mm.
you've done, isn't it? But
Yeah.
now leading on to this is where I'm starting to sound even more professional. Did you see how he led that on? Oh, we're now coming on to the third part of the lovely podcast as to the viewers, and I'm super interested to know more about. Well, we've got to talk about got a ping. Okay, we've got to talk about got a ping. So, what do you currently work as in your role? Talk us through it.
Yeah, so nowadays I am a career coach. So I do work with clients one-on-one, I run group trainings, and I do talks as well. But a lot of it, of my work, I see it as growing careers, like I said, online
Hmm.
and offline. So the online would be really establishing a professional presence on LinkedIn. So a lot of people have asked me, why do I care so much about LinkedIn? What does all these thing, right? Why do we care? Um, I'm not sure how many people know this, but LinkedIn helped me got jobs at one of the actually two of the biggest companies in the world. First one was with Visa, so Visa MasterCard in 2013, and with Standard Chartered in 2015. So I was just
Wow.
like browsing through the platform. At that time, I think it was 2012, 2013. So really early on LinkedIn during that time. So I made sure that I have a very strong profile and just kind of
Mm.
browsing through the platform one day, and I saw, oh, Visa Asia Pacific is hiring, and the role has like 30-40% travel all over Asia. And I am a travel buff. I've been to many, many countries. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get this tick box professionally, but I also get like my personal travel also ticked. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm just going to apply for it. And it just happened really quickly. I think within a week, I got the interview. And after multiple
Wow.
rounds of interview, got the job. But since then, I wasn't very active because at that time, LinkedIn wasn't a particularly big platform for content and so forth. So I made sure I had a very strong profile. And in 2015, one of the global HR from Standard Chartered Bank reached out and said that, hey, you have the profile that we are looking for.
Wow.
Would you want to explore an opportunity with a new team that we're setting up? So it's pretty much a pioneer team to revamp the entire risk management framework for a certain portfolio at Standard Chartered.
Mm.
So I said, okay, why not give it a try? So I did. So nowadays, what I tend to tell people is that pretty much LinkedIn can be your online resume 24/7.
Bomb.
So if it's rubbish, then that's the first impression that people get of you, because in the past, right, the first impression that you can have, you can give someone else could be your resume, your CV, or maybe during the interview. But nowadays
Mm.
it's actually one step before that, right? It's your LinkedIn profile, professional presence. That's the first thing. So I really care about that a lot. And I see a lot of professionals really not learning how to leverage that bit.
Mm.
Especially everything's kind of moving digital. So that's the one part that I do more for online. But with the rise of personal branding, I'm very conscious of that whole dynamic. So I
Mm.
constantly also remind my clients that don't forget the real offline work. So we're accountants, we understand substance over form. So I say, okay,
Mm.
the form can be really pretty, but make sure substance, you actually know what you're doing, like you really have the skills, you are
Quality.
really
Quality.
qualified. Yeah, exactly. It's something that we are very proud of, right? To be like qualified accountants. So you do have that not just technical ability, but also the soft skills, right? The ability to work with people. Because
Mm.
I used to tell people like you can brand whatever that you want, but if you can't actually do the job, like your reputation will be tarnished at some point.
Mm.
But if you're an accountant, and I notice that a lot of accountants tend to be a little bit more quiet, right, a little bit more passive,
Yeah.
then I send them the opposite message. I was like, if you are so quiet, who is going to know that you are adding value? So that's
Bomb.
when, okay, your substance is 200%, but like you need the form, right? You need to let people know that, hey, I can really contribute. So I think
Mm.
both kind of goes hand in hand. Like normally when I say, I'm like, okay, we need to assess what's your online presence versus your actual offline capabilities, and are you really
Mm.
maximizing that? So that's really the thing that I do, whether it's via one-on-one, whether it's via my group sessions every month. Yeah, essentially the team is just that.
Well, I hope you don't mind, but all of my students who are watching, because at the start of every academic year and during the academic year, I always bang on about LinkedIn and updating it, and the way I got into my habits was just half an hour here or there at the start, or 15 minutes, just something going on there, and even just connecting with people who are in the same sort of field as you, or connecting with classmates, sending them a personal message. Just get started was the main thing, because I think it's not in people's habits at the moment for LinkedIn, even though I know the value in it. You know the value, and I didn't actually know about you, in terms of you got the 2 roles directly from LinkedIn. But it's amazing how underrated I still think it is as well.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, definitely.
gosh, but we've also got one of the top 70 rising stars on LinkedIn with us today. So, from a bit of practical experience, where would you say most people don't use their LinkedIn to the full potential? Or where from going away from this video would they say, oh, well, where can I improve on it quite easily to start off with?
Mm, so normally when I teach my LinkedIn professional branding sessions, I will cover it in like 5 areas. So the first one is, I'll just give you like a very quick quick tip and quick snippet about
Well,
it.
the floor is yours. Do not worry. Gosh, they're not here to listen to me, so go for it, May.
Yeah, so for the first area, I think mindset is really important. So like you said, a lot of students may not recognize the power of the platform, because they may think that, oh, this is just like a Facebook, like an Instagram, it's something I do for fun. Not necessarily true, because guess who is hanging out on LinkedIn? Your managers, like your potential new managers, bosses, and so forth. So I think
Us.
mindset, understanding that professionally, this is something for your career, not so much for entertainment, but really more for your career. Second section, definitely profile. So if there's one thing you're going to take away from today's podcast, please actually create a profile. And I think upload a picture. I think that's the biggest tip I'll give you. A lot of, so if you're online without a picture, to me, you're an invisible person. It doesn't make me feel like you are a real person who is interested to network and is really able to provide value. So I think a profile photo and an appropriate profile photo is important.
Not you out on a
like
Friday night.
basic, yeah, exactly. Not you out with a beer, with a wine, or whatever. But how would you? Let's say you want to be in a certain industry. What kind of image would be professional? Is being professional, and then I would just put that appropriately. So I think that's like ultimate baseline. Personally, I don't really connect with people who don't have a profile photo, because I don't really know if they're taking it seriously, or if they say who they're supposed to be and so forth. So really, really important. Third portion I always talk about is content. So content, not so much in the terms of like being able to create that. So if you're a student, maybe it's not so important, but maybe some little bit of sharing here and there, whether it's via a comment, right, something you have learned, or if you want to share it in a post, then feel free to do so, right? What's appropriate for you? And obviously the other 2 parts would be around like engagement and networking. So as you alluded to it a little bit earlier, connect with your professors, connect with your peers. If there are any industry leaders that you find that you can learn a lot from them, connect with them as well. Like use it as a learning platform, but understand that it is learning towards career improvement and maybe personal development as well. Not just kind of going on the platform, treating it as a bit of an entertainment, and maybe jeopardizing your chances along the way, because you don't know who's watching on LinkedIn. Like I said, there are a lot of bosses there. So you never know. First impression counts. So these 5 areas, normally I'll cover it in more detail, but like just a quick gist of it to know that how they all kind of align together and really able to help you in your career later on.
Oh, certainly. I mean, if anyone out there is listening who wants more information on that, go on to May's profile. There are some great articles on there, nice, short and sweet, and it will just help you out so much as well. But even I've had people try and connect with me who have got their photo when they've been on a Friday night out with a pint of beer on there. I just go, oh, okay. And there are some people where I can't see their face, or they've got a car on there. I just don't get it in terms of it. But the bit of advice I would give when I was first starting out was just aim to post once a week on there, sharing an article, sharing your opinions of maybe a particular sector you want to go into, and you'll get some momentum from it as well. Because don't be disheartened that your first post might only get sort of 30 views or 40 views or something on those
Mm.
lines. My first one, I think, got about 16 views when I was a student, when I had
Right.
3 connections on it. So it just doesn't matter. It's a marathon,
Mm.
not a sprint in terms of it. But I think it's so underused, I would say.
Mm.
And we have one of the gurus with us today in terms of it as well. So make use of the resources out there as well. But coming back onto the coaching as well, because
Mm.
that's a really interesting part on there. What are the main sort of aspects that your clients are looking for as well? Or if there's a potential client listening to this right now, or someone who wants some help in their career, what sort of
Mm.
things do you maybe focus on, or are the common areas that you have to sort of talk to people about?
Yeah, so there are essentially 2 areas at the moment. We do know that the job market is very challenging right now. So
Yeah.
the first part I work with is more around the what I call the LinkedIn strategy. So that's
Mm-hmm.
more for like kind of job search and career transition, career growth. So in that zone, we talk about career clarity, because most people don't know what they want. They don't know how to pick a job. So that's one part of it. The second one will be resume CV review. So some people come to me for that, just getting my opinion on how they can best position their skills, values,
Yeah.
and experiences. Thirdly, would be more around job search strategies. How do they network? How do they kind of build their connection? So that's more focused on either their immediate next job or their immediate next jump. But I would say most of my clients work with me more on a 3 to 6 months basis, either overcoming a challenge at work
Mm-hmm.
or aiming towards a specific goal. So I'll give you an example. A lot of clients come to me want to work on a few things. Number one, speaking up and getting heard at work. That is a problem for a lot of people,
Yes.
especially people with technical backgrounds, particularly accountants. So I do have clients who are accountants and finance folks, and they feel like, okay, they know what they're doing. They're so good at their job, but they feel like they're not, people don't know that. Right, in meetings they feel it's very awkward to speak up. So communication definitely is a really, really big thing I work with a lot of my clients. Second, big picture thinking. Easier said than done, easier said
Yes.
than actually practiced. So for big picture thinking, a lot of my clients are around the managerial director level, because that's when they really have to level up, running big portfolios. In the past, I've ran like $1.5 billion portfolios. So a lot of the things that I picked up, I tailor it and see how it can be applied for them. And lastly, I'd say emotional intelligence. So how to listen deeper, how to kind of get a sense of like working with different people, creating win-win relationships, I think is a really, really big one.
Yes.
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 Nowadays, I find people, especially even in messages that I get, and even in the past when I was working, people tend to come to you and say, I need this, James, can I have this? James, can you do this for me? It's always about you, but like, what are you doing for the other person? Like, why would a person want to work with you? So creating win-win relationships is really
I'm all
something
right,
that
you know.
it's an art. I mean, there are techniques that I teach them, but I think it's more of a bit of an art, because it's about understanding people and understanding dynamics. You know, how well you listen, how well you discern meaning, and so forth. So more for the longer term clients, I would work with them on that. From a level perspective, a lot of my clients are probably senior executives to managerial level and above. The more junior folks come to me, normally they would just join my classes, because it's just more like a quick insight, and then they would be able to practice on their own. But normally for the more senior folks, one-to-one makes more sense, because the environment is very challenging. Your stakeholders are completely different, and you as a person developing as a leader, as a manager, is also different challenges as well, right? So so just a little bit of that.
Oh, mega points in that. I completely agree with you in terms of it, because it's all about the soft skills they're sort of branded as now, where people just haven't got the experiences on there as to how do you communicate with one another. The best thing I ever got taught was, if I'm sending an email, the thing that I think about all the time is, how is the person who is going to read this think about it? That's it. So I always think from their perspective. So exactly what you're saying, oh, I need this doing here. It all depends on your language, because the same message will get put across, but there are so many different ways of going about it. That's the thing. And I like how you said win-win as well. There's if you have a look on Gary V on there, there's win-win and there's no lose as well. So that's where no lose is, I will send you some free products for you to test out and let me know what you think of it, because it's a no lose for them, isn't it? Because they're getting some free stuff over, they'll give it a try. And if you believe in your product, then big tick, they are going to like it. So it's a no lose on that one. So, oh, that's mega. Oh no, absolutely super points there. And again, for my students who are watching and students who contact me around the world, heed the warning, okay, on there. There are some mega points in there that I'm going to go away from this and take action. So the ball is, as always, it comes down to action, doesn't it? The ball is in your court. You've got to put the time in. That's the main thing. But we can now come on to the more sort of personal side as well, because I'm interested to get to know you more now. This is important because I know and for anyone who pops along to your courses as well. But this is where the round of do I agree with you? Okay. So these are open questions, which again, for the viewers watching, Mei has no idea on. But there's one question that I always ask, because I'm always interested in it, is with all of the people who come on the podcast. But first of all, what is your favorite artist or your favorite band that you like listening to? Who is your go-to?
I don't actually have a go-to band, believe it or not.
Really?
I don't have a go-to band.
Do you play an instrument or anything like that? Or
No, I don't play any instrument. But I like art. I like looking at paintings a lot. So right now with the lockdown, I find it kind of suffocating because I like to travel to different countries, looking at art and nature, whether it's paintings, nature or whatnot. So so I think, I can share with you my favorite painting, if that makes sense.
Oh, go for it. I've just look at behind you as well. Look at those frames as well. They look very nice. But go on, who's your favorite painting or artist?
I like Girl with the Pearl Earring. I've seen the real painting in the Den Haag in Netherlands. It's really, really beautiful. Yeah, lovely. So that is my favorite painting.
Have you been to see the Mona Lisa in Paris?
So I have, but as you know, it's always very crowded in the Louvre. So you whatever glimpse that you got, I think that's it. So yeah.
Oh, it's the expectation versus reality, where someone who goes puts a lovely photo online, but when you get there, there's hundreds of people trying to get the same photo in the background.
I think if there's a better museum to visit in Paris, probably go and see Monet. I think the museum is a lot more calming, and the paintings is just like a lot of florals, petals, and all these things.
Oh,
the
Paris
color combination is awesome.
Paris is beautiful. I like to just go walk around Paris as well. Arc de Triomphe, and then obviously down to the Eiffel Tower. There's so much culture, and it's a beautiful place as well. So that's it. But no, that's interesting. One artist who I think you might like, but quite relaxing after a day, play some Elton John. Give Elton John a try. Bit of piano, nice and easy, and he's got some upbeat tracks, some nice and easy piano ones. I think you might like it. Let me know.
Okay, thanks for the recommendation.
Yes. Oh, it's my pleasure. Elton, if you are watching, gosh, you see, you've got one more fan today. So coming on to another question then, away from work, I see you post loads online. I know you're super busy, but what's your main hobbies out of work that you like to get involved with?
I love travel. So right now it's really painful for me because I can't go anywhere. So I used to travel to, I actually used to have a list. Every single year I say I'll go to 10 different places.
Wow, nice.
So I've been able to do that up to last year until the lockdown happened. So right now I can't quite do that. But my hobby is pretty much researching about the next places that I want to go.
Awesome. So what is your next place that you just I have to be there? In Mei's mind?
I think before the lockdown, I've wanted to go to Morocco.
Oh, right. Lovely.
Yeah. So I think Morocco would be the next place that I really want to.
Lovely. Well, if there are any ACCA members or students from Morocco, feel free to put your recommendations in the comments below. Or
if you'd like to send me a travel guide.
There'll be people watching who have actually been to Morocco and say, Mei has got to go there. Ping it in below. We will look at it. That is the main thing on there. But out of interest as well, what led you to go into coaching? That was another thing. Just from internal auditor, external auditor, and then what led to the transition of coaching and setting up and being your own boss, I guess, in terms of it.
So in the middle of last year, I quit my corporate job in Singapore to return to Malaysia. So the decision wasn't a very easy one, but my mom was ill. So I decided that I like to spend a bit more time at home in Malaysia. So I came back. So apart from like being a caregiver, I also started, finding a bit more time for myself, what I really enjoyed doing. And interestingly, during this time, a lot of my ex-colleagues and friends, they knew that, I wasn't working. So I started getting messages like, hey, what are you doing right now? Like, can I get some bit of advice? And like, what do you think about this? What should I do this? Should I do that? So I felt that I kind of became an advisor even before I kind of became a coach. And after a while, they were like, okay, fine. Like, we're taking up so much of your time. Like to actually pay you for it. So
wow.
and then it just kind of
well,
worked
this
out.
is news to me. If any of my friends are listening right now, well, but maybe we could start something going, because James, the classic phrase I bet you've had in the past is, James, have you got a minute?
No, not nowadays. There is no minute, because nothing ever ends in a minute. I think that just sort of happened. But before that, I did take on a coaching certification, but that was more for personal development. I didn't know that I was going to leave the corporate world to begin with. But I think everything just kind of it just aligned. And right at the year end, I was like, okay, fine. I have this coaching certification. I now have people reaching out to me quite often, and I said, okay, fine. I'm just going to get started on LinkedIn. So in fact, the first time I posted any actual content on LinkedIn was on 1st January. So that was the first time I recorded a video, because I'm a bit of an introvert, a bit of a dork. So I don't do videos. But if you're hardworking enough to look for that first video I posted on 1st January, it's really quite different. And I think since then, I've also gotten a lot more confident to appear on videos, and like how I sound, how I look. It does get a little bit awkward, but you just get used to yourself.
Yeah, but the main tip there is, because my first video on my YouTube account is on there, and I kid you not, it is awful. Okay, the camera angle's terrible, the audio's a bit naff, the lighting's a bit poor, but the main thing was, I started, and then
you did it,
and then you learn. That's the thing. And I look back on it now and go, that was a very good decision that I made that day. And decisions just change the course. That's the thing, and has led to us actually talking today as well. Because I mean, for the viewers as well, I know as the professional host I am, I forgot on the TED Talk list that I was supposed to ask you at the start, how do we actually know each other as well? How would you describe to the viewers how we know each other?
Again, the power of LinkedIn. I think we connected about a couple of months ago. I think I've seen your content a little bit here and there. I'm quite sure that you've seen mine as well. And yeah, James very kindly dropped me a message and asked if I have a bit of an hour and see if we can chat to help out some ACCA members. And yes, I found time.
Oh, I appreciate it as well, but it was a case of you just drop a nice personal message, and I wasn't thinking from my perspective. I was really keen on actually speaking to you about one of your articles as well, about how to improve your LinkedIn. I think it was in 5 steps or something on those lines, and it makes such a difference in terms of it as well. And I started to engage a bit more. But it's just people out there listening now. There may be ACCA members, accounting students, or just fans of you, Mei. I have no idea. But it's a case of just success leaves clues in terms of it. So just take these nuggets of information and start to apply them as well. It's just the main thing, I would say. But what would be your bits of advice for anyone out here looking to get started? What was it like for you?
On LinkedIn?
Yeah, or in general, or starting your own business, so to say.
I think given that most people listening are probably accountants, do a pro and con list, right? Because risk management is in our DNA, right? So do that first, because I think generally people who take accounting, I notice, are a little bit more risk averse. And that's okay. Like I'm pretty risk averse as well, right? So to really take a bit of time to assess, what you really like, what you really believe in, but more importantly, do you really have the skill sets? Because right now, entrepreneurship is a cool thing on social media. It looks cool. Is it actually cool? Nobody really knows. But really get a good sense of like, how much are you willing to put in? And are you okay if things don't work out? Or you want to give yourself a little bit of time to pick up the skills that will make you successful later on. Like be it, for example, right now as a coach, I'm on video a lot, right?
Yeah.
But how many people are comfortable? And even in my first video, it was terrible. Like you said, like nightmares thinking about it. But you go from strength to strength, and you
Yeah.
gradually learn that, okay, what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And nowadays, when I do videos, it's all in one take. I do live classes where I take live Q&A, and that's what I enjoy, because I think that allows me to express my points a lot better. And yeah, I mean, some things that sometimes rehearsing helps, but don't be too rehearsed, if that makes sense.
Yes, and the viewers are now looking at me going, "Oh, James, he looks like a very, very rehearsed guy." I mean, yes, he's got this podcast under control. It's but ready to take over the world as ever. But don't worry, May. I think you're a cool lady, so don't you worry about that. It's okay. In terms of coolness, anyway. I think if the viewers were to say who's the cooler out of the two, I think there's only one winner from that one. But we've come on, we've done personal now. We're gonna have to get serious. We're gonna have to get serious in terms of it.
Okay.
The final bit is the final bit. Yeah, this is the most insightful and experienced one as well, because the viewers out there will be at different stages in their career, and they may have come across you and they may have come across me, who knows. But it's a case of, what are you interested in at the moment? Are you reading into particular areas, or what are your thoughts about the sort of future that you're particularly interested in, would you say?
I think the future is going to be won by those who can adapt and really be creative. I think adaptability and creativity are the two biggest skill sets that's really required. And when I mean adaptability, obviously flexibility, trying out new methods, trying out new platforms, such as going on LinkedIn, right? And really trying out new things, because I think technology is just going to go forward from this point on. Like, the days that we're going to eliminate our handphones, like, it's not going to happen. Like, there will be it's not going to be tomorrow when you wake up like, okay, let's just like get rid of phone, let's go back to mail. That's not happening. So I think the faster that you can adapt and kind of embrace that is really important. Mindset of embracing change, not being afraid, and willing to try out different things, and get creative in the different methods, because there are many ways to achieve the same outcome. But the key is to be consistent, keep practicing, keep going at it, and you will be better. Because the first time I did a video was lousy, but right now I can pretty much do it live, and I'm sure James is the same for you also. So practice doesn't quite mean perfect, but practice allows you to really get better, whatever success means to you.
I'm waiting for my Oscar. It's all right. It's in the post. It's in the post. They've all been on the phone since the podcast has been released. Danny DeVito, he's been on the phone. Orlando Bloom, he's been on the phone. It's just, I've just said, look, I've got to speak to May. Give me a minute. Oh, she's my priority today. That's it. So, but if viewers are watching out there, what kind of person are you looking to connect for your sort of future plans? Where do you see yourself, or who are you looking to connect with?
So I connect with a couple of groups. So the first one is students, because I do share a lot of content on personality and soft skills to enter the workforce that will really be helpful. So I do connect with a lot of students as well. I think it's really interesting to see their journey. So for ACCA students, feel free to add me. And a big chunk of people who connect with me are working professionals. So if you are looking to grow in your career, you are looking to, I don't say step out of your comfort zone, because that is so cliche, but if you actually want to improve your job skills and give yourself a better chance, whether it's making work more streamlined, making things more productive for you, or just like finding some new methods of like doing things, right? Whether it's leadership roles, management, or whatever, then I would really like to connect with you, because I do share quite a lot of tips around soft skills and even online strategy as well. So both of which will be very helpful in moving your career forward. So
I can only recommend. That is it. I'm just saying it's, and also when you hang around with people like yourself, or you're connected with people like yourself, you see things, you see posts, and you just go, I've got to just up that standard, just that next level. And once you start doing that, and you turn you turn your, my must into, well, your needs into must, and you actually say, I have to do this today. I have to do that. The progress is just going to be massive, and our words of wisdom could affect someone today. Who knows, May? Who knows in terms of it? That well, should we talk about 2020 as well? I mean, it's been an eventful year, should we say? But what have you learnt this year about yourself, or what's changed for the better?
What's changed for the better? I think for me, it's just continue to be more courageous to run more group sessions, because like I said, I'm an introvert, so I really enjoy doing one-on-one sessions because it's a lot more private, and that we can have a lot more deep conversations, especially with me and my clients. But I really want to give myself a challenge to do group sessions. So far I've done quite a few already, gotten quite very good feedback, but it's just something that I need to keep going at it. So I've given myself a couple of goals. Like, for example, every month I'm going to do 2 group sessions. I'm going to announce it, actually do it. So 2 group trainings, and maybe I'll keep that a little bit of a challenge for the next 6 months or so.
Oh no, no, but it's interesting you say that as well, because I've started to write down my goals more. So short term, long term, whether that be sort of financial or fitness or something on those lines. I don't know about you. Do you get many clients who actually don't write down or even think about their goals?
I think most people don't really think of their goals. Most people are more fixated on their daily to-do list. So so when people come to me with, my clients come to me productivity issues, the first questions I always ask, one of the first questions I always ask them is like, okay, so what's your biggest goal? What do you actually want to achieve? What's your objective? And they can't answer that. So this is a very simple question for you to test if you are clear on what you're working towards, or you're just like really busy every single day. Because busyness is not always a good thing. Like, taking action is not always the best thing if you're like not taking the action in the right direction. So,
yes. No, I agree with you on that. I hear so many people that come to me and say, James, I haven't got time to study. I haven't got time to do this. I'm just so busy. But so they're having what happens is they're having a busy day. So they are actually doing stuff, but they're only doing minor activities. They're not doing major activities. And once you actually sort of whittle out all these minor ones, and you free up more time for major ones, such as obviously doing the podcast today, the day is already at a particular high. I just can't see it getting any better than this. So Danny DeVito, he'll have to ring back tomorrow. But all these little things just add up and add up and add up, and just these little changes and habits can make a massive difference to someone as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh gosh, but 2020 as well. I mean, are you reading any particular books yourself at the moment that you'd recommend for viewers to actually get into, or?
I'm not reading any books at the moment, but I do enjoy reading different articles. So recently I've been reading quite a few about, really decluttering, minimalist, without getting burnout. I'm actually a minimalist. I know it's not very obvious. I have a lot of things at the back, but so I've been practicing that approach for a really long time. I think it helps keep my thinking very clear, because eliminating the noise is really important. And I like to get back to more of those kind of activities, because it's just a really helpful method to avoid getting stressed out and getting burnout. Because I have a lot of connections, and I receive so many messages every day that sometimes I feel like I need a bit of a breather also. So we all need to find space, I think. Be reading articles on that. Yeah.
Oh, that's mega. For anyone who's listening who doesn't know about minimalism, I've been researching this. Actually, funny enough, obviously we've rehearsed this to the T, which we obviously haven't. But this is the whole point, obviously, because we're interested in it. But there are some people out there. Well, sorry, just to explain to people listening, it's a case of minimalism is reducing the amount of stuff that you have in your house, so that when you actually go about your day, you make clearer decisions. So Mark Zuckerberg is a classic example of this, where he just wears a plain t-shirt every day, so he doesn't have to make that decision about what to wear. So for example, so he makes better decisions in his other activities. So there are some people out there that have these competitions. Have you had a look into these by any chance?
Yeah, but I think that's a little bit against the concept, because when something turns into a competition, then like it creates a lot of anxiety and stress. So the purpose of minimalism is to make sure that we find our own breather, our own space, and whatever that works for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it's simply about clearing away clutter, isn't it, in terms of your life? So it's so that you just
noise in your life. Yeah.
exactly, yeah. So, but there are some people out there who have 20 items of possession in their
Yeah,
house. So
I've seen those. I've seen those.
they'll have one shirt, one pair of trousers, one pair of shoes, and they'll have some sort of fork, spoon, and knife all put into one. They'll have one plate,
Yeah.
and it's amazing that they live their lives on these bases. But hey ho, it's I just find it an interesting concept. But I agree with being more clear in the way that you're going about your life. But they go at a complete extreme
Yeah,
where.
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, the question I want to ask him is, what happens if your one shirt is in the wash? How are you meant
I don't know. Maybe they have a spare, or I don't know, a towel or blanket, whatever.
How
Who
can you
knows?
wear a towel to work? That's interesting to look at that. That's really good. But oh gosh, but looking into the future, then I mean, what have you got? What have you got planned this week that's exciting for the viewers?
Plan this week. I think rearranging my schedule and really getting back to like yoga practice. I haven't done it for so long. And I think, finding space for myself. Because next week I have quite a number of things lined up. I have my, like I said, right, my group training sessions that I'm really kicking off in October. And I'm also starting career coaching with University of Hong Kong for the MBA students. So I'll be pretty busy with those sessions as well. So I think I need to prep myself this week. I think that's the goal.
Well, if you need a guest speaker to come in at late notice, to warm them up in their first week online, you know where to find me. It's all right.
Alrighty.
But you touched on their yoga as well, because I know some people that have started to try yoga. But what benefits do you find from taking up yoga as well?
I think firstly is like time that you allocate for yourself. Right? So on the mat is the time that you carve out, actually appear. And to me, it's not so much about the poses. It's more like, okay, I'm very busy every single day, but this is the one constant and the routine that I'm going to get into to create a little bit of a calm for myself. And personally for me, like I said, yoga is not so much about the fancy poses, more about alignment. So really able to align your mental noise with what you're doing physically every single day. I think that's the benefit for me.
Yeah, I think lots of people are put off because there are two things that I've been slightly putting off. I'll be honest to the viewers, even I say, oh, not quite sure. Yoga is one, and meditation is the other one. And it's all about clearing your mind, focusing on your breathing, and then it's, as you said, time for yourself. Do you do any meditation or sort of clear thinking? Or
I tried. It's not so easy to get into, but if you want to get started, I'd say get started with, I mean, I don't know if you know, but in the past, kind of ancient India, yoga is just a way of like aligning your body and like loosening up all your muscles or whatever, right before you get into meditation. Yeah, so release the tension, like release the stress and anxiety. Maybe just do a little bit of yoga first, stretch a little bit of stretch here and there, and yeah, I would say give meditation a try. I'm also still working on that. It's not the easiest because I feel like I have a monkey mind. I think a lot, and too much thinking is not exactly a good thing also. So yeah.
Oh yes, there are other things which I've tried to get into my habits, as not looking at my phone an hour before I go to bed as well, and also an hour when I wake up. So I'll just play some music in the morning and not think about any social media or anything like that, and then before I go to bed, no phone or anything on those lines. And it is amazing how it does clear your mind, because if you think about something just before you go to bed, it's constantly on your mind as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you end up having a bad night's sleep, and then it'll be on your mind the next day, and just all these little things that these little changes. The way I think about it, again, tell me if I'm wrong, but they're hopefully just going to make and build up so that you have more productive days, you get more out of your day as well, and these little changes can be a massive difference long term, I think, as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's the inner change and inner habits that you develop is
Mm.
going to be helpful, because like even when I work with my clients, whether it's a LinkedIn strategy or even job skills, like fundamentally it begins with you, right? So if
Yeah.
you're not calm and you're not focused, and it doesn't matter the best advice I give you, you're not going to do anything about it because you're not ready,
Mm.
or you're not going to be able to really focus on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like take care of yourself. Take care of yourself starts with you.
Oh gosh, words of wisdom again. I know it just does come down to you at the end of the day. I mean, I try and help
Mm,
out as many people, and you do as well. And
mm,
we get advice from other people. It's great, but it all depends on how likely you are to take action on this as well.
yeah.
And you'll be able to tell me, how long does it take to actually put a habit into practice so that it just becomes normal?
Mm, I think researchers have said it's 90 days, but I
Mm,
do think that you can always expedite it by doing a bit of a self-reflection and a
mm,
feedback loop. So normally with my clients that I work with one-on-one, we'll catch up every 2 weeks or so. So catching up is not so much making sure that they do things perfectly, but
mm.
also to make sure that they are fully aware what they have done and
Yeah.
how they could do better, and I always will be able to provide some feedback on how they can improve. Because like I said, most people, we do things so mindlessly that sometimes
Mm,
for some people, when some clients start with me, I ask them, okay, so tell me exactly what was said, what did you do, and they can't tell that, they cannot
all
even
right.
remember. So that's already the first big clue, that is about awareness. Because if you're not even aware what you've said, then how can you really communicate better? How can you really build resonance or relationship with
Mm.
others, because you don't even know how you're coming across and you don't even remember it, right? So yeah, I mean, like I said, it starts with you, and it's a journey, of course, but you can always expedite it. Self-awareness
Mm.
and feedback. Yeah,
Well,
constant feedback.
in other words, if you can't remember it, how is anyone else meant to remember it as well? In simple terms, isn't it? Now,
Yeah,
now
it creates a lot of miscommunication later on, which is one of the biggest issues in work and in life,
mm.
isn't it?
Oh, communication is so underrated, and it's just like we're saying about habits.
Mm,
Just whilst I've got it on my mind, it's a case of someone told me to build habits upon habits as well, because then it becomes sort of like a process. So then
mm,
you end up just doing it normally. So wake up in the morning, have some water, go brush your teeth, and then these are just habits that you build up on,
mm.
and then you
Yeah.
start to have that kind of day that you want. But now I realize we are pushed for time in terms of it as well. But what is your final words of wisdom for the viewers out there as well? I mean, what's that lasting bit of May advice that could help them out to make them have the week that they want to have?
Okay, so I'll share with you one of my personal mottos, actually. So this is what defines my life, and it's hope is not a strategy. If you are hoping, then
Mm-hmm.
let me tell you right now, it is not happening,
Mm.
right? But if you actually want it, then what's your strategy? What are you going to do? What are some of the big key things that you are going to do? And how are you going to make sure that you make it happen? Right? So whenever I hear people telling me all sorts of things, in my mind, I'm trying to figure out, okay, are you hoping? Or is this like, do you actually have a plan? Like you have an idea of what you want to get to. So yeah, hope is not a strategy.
Hope is not a strategy. I'm just thinking now about all those emails that you get off people who they say, "I hope you have a good weekend," and or "I hope you have a nice week," and I'll just be thinking now, oh, that's going to kick in. What you've just said to me now, I'm just going, well, I'm not going to hope. I'm going to get on with
I'm
it and
going to
do
make
it.
sure it's going
Yeah.
to be an awesome week.
Yeah. For any colleagues who are watching out there who have sent me, James, I hope you have a nice weekend. Well, yes, I will, because I will get my running done. I will get my reading done, all these little things. That's,
Mm.
I mean, the final bit of the podcast as well. And I must say, thank you so much for coming on is for every person who comes on to the ACCA Global Podcast, I plant a lovely tree for them. So this is your tree. This is your oak that is going to be planted today. Look at that.
Okay,
So that
awesome.
is
I'm going to call it the pink thing.
the ping thing. I will send you a photo of this as well in its pot as well, May. And then that is going to be planted for you as well on there. So that is going. I know it doesn't.
Okay,
I know
great.
it doesn't look appealing, but it could be a solid oak in a few years' time. So that'll be the main
Yeah,
thing.
it's a journey, isn't it? As long as you water it every day, then it's going to grow.
Well, like I always say to my connections, I will water them and help them grow as well. But if the podcast gets any bigger, my garden is going to be full of pots, and it's not that big, but
Yeah, I look forward to that.
that's all right. I will send you a photo of it, and you can feel free to share it with all your connections.
All
Just say,
right.
"Look at this! I've got a tree growing for me out there as well."
Nice, nice.
But I must say, I must say, a massive, massive thank you for coming on today as well. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I've got so many things going away from today that I'm going to take out of it as well. I've got to wish you all the best luck with the career coaching, with the group sessions, and your
Oh, thank
super
you.
duper busy schedule. I've drank all my tea. It's been lovely as well, but I must say, if you'd like all of May's details as well, everyone, I'll put it in the details below. If you have found today's video helpful and insightful as well, feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so that you can hear from more ACCA members from around the world on the ACCA Global Podcast. But I mustn't say, I hope you have a good day, and I mustn't say, I hope you have a good week, because I know now you are going to. So that is the main thing. But as always on that bombshell, we will see you next time. So thank you very much. Cheers.